Hi, my name is Liam and I've come out of hibernation to talk to you about Everdell. Everdell is a worker placement tableau building game in which you're building a little animal community and preparing for the cold winter season ahead. Now when I say worker placement, what that means is you're going to take turns placing your little workers on the board to take various actions such as gathering sticks or berries. Now you're going to use these resources to play these gorgeous cards in front of you, either from your own personal hand of cards or from the centre of the board called the meadow. These are going to give you certain powers which you can use throughout the game. Now the first thing you notice about this game is that it is beautiful. Not since Mysterium have been so enamoured with the look of a game. It has some of the best artwork I have ever seen in a game, and on top of that there is this lovely tree, which while wholly unnecessary is definitely one of the coolest things about the game. And the other components from this game are also top notch. Rather than the usual fare of Eurogame resources like the drab, lifeless cubes with all the visual appeal of a wet rag, you've got these wonderful sticks, you've got the shiny resin, you've got the vibrant blueberries. The first choice Everdell gives you is already an exciting one. Rather than the usual what colour do you want to be, Everdell asks which cute woodland creature you'd like to play as. Maybe the red squirrels, the mice, the hedgehogs, or the turtles? But now onto the game. Despite the rather cutesy theme, this isn't just a light card game. There's some really strong resource and card management to properly get your teeth into in this game. On each of your turns, you're going to choose between one of two things. You're either going to place a worker out on the board, or you're going to play a card in front of you. Now each card has a cost on the side here, which is going to show you what resources you need to get it out. So first, you're going to have to gather those resources with your workers. There's also a few different types of cards in this game, split between buildings and the critters that live inside them. Some cards are going to produce resources, making you less reliant on the spaces on the board, and some are going to give you extra places to place your workers. Some are also going to give you ongoing powers that will change the way you play compared to the other people around the table. And then there are certain ones that will just score you bonus points. You'll also notice there's a few spaces up here. Now these are the 4 basic events, which are going to be the same every game, and the ones up here are the 4 special events, which will change from game to game. These represent some of the ways you can score points, either by collecting different combinations of symbols or different combinations of cards. The winner of Everdell is going to be whoever has the most points across their tokens, cards, and these tiles here at the end of the 4 rounds of the game. Now, while 4 rounds doesn't sound like a lot, there is a whole lot you can get done once your engine gets going. One of the highlights of this game is that it has more interaction between players than a traditional resource management game. You've still got the turn angst of worker placement, where you sit there desperately hoping that that spot you were just about to place your worker on doesn't get taken. Okay, so we're going to go collect some blueberries. Okay, that's fine. We're going to get some sticks instead. There's also several cards in Everdell that allow you to directly impact your opponent's game. Now most of these involve giving them resources in exchange for points. This is good because they impact your opponent but never impede or punish them. Now, this is a lovely touch compared to other games where they take that approach is punishing your opponent, ruining their plans, making the game less fun for them in process, as though you're reaching over to their board and just messing things around. Now that's not to say there's no bite to the interaction in this game. There are locations which are open, which means you can plan to use that lovely inn in a couple of turns' time, only to find that when you get there, it's completely full of hedgehogs. Now, as this is a card game with a huge stack of cards, it can feel a little bit swingy and lucky with the card draws, especially since all the buildings let you play a corresponding critter for free. For example, if you've got the inn, you can then play the innkeeper for free. This is much like a mechanism found in Seven Wonders. So this can be particularly frustrating when you're looking for that one specific card and it just never seems to show up. However, this is offset by the fact that every player at some point in the game is going to have a light bulb moment where their plans line up, their combos start to go off, and you score enough points to make everyone at the table start paying attention. Now this means that even when you lose a game of Everdell, you still get a sense of satisfaction. And the sign of a really good game is one where you can still have a great time even when you're losing. Another way this game excellently avoids frustration is that there's a hard 15 card limit on the number of cards you can have in front of you. Now this means that over the course of the game, the information you have available to you never becomes overwhelming. Instead, it just makes for a really interesting puzzle. Now this still puts some pretty intense pressure on the end game, as you realise that those 4 cards you have in your hand that you really want to place in your village only have 2 spaces left they can go in. You end up looking down and hating that pigeon in your farm. Why is he there? He's scoring me 0 points. Everdell can be compared to other games like Imperial Settlers and Race for the Galaxy, and while I can't definitely say it's better than them, it certainly deserves to be mentioned alongside them. It has a similar aspect of weighing up every single card and action and thinking, is this the best thing to do to score me points? And, often more importantly, which order do I want to do them in? So to round off, if you want a game that's absolutely gorgeous in terms of both art design and components, and also provides you with a thinky game where every move matters, then Everdell is probably the game for you. It's full of lovely little touches which make the entire experience more thematic, from resources to the fact that husband and wife only take up 1 combined space. Look how happy they look. If all this sounds appealing to you, then I highly recommend you pick up a copy of Everdell. Thanks for watching. I'm now going to head back into hibernation. Goodbye.